Orange is one of my favorite colors on a bike, so naturally the bright orange fork on this bike caught my attention. This is a Bicycle Corporation of America SC29, and what makes it special is that it's assembled in the United States. Along with the cool head tube badge, bringing jobs back to America, that resonates well with me. And with the factory located in Manning, South Carolina, that's a drivable distance. So I contacted BCA, well actually Kent International in New Jersey, they own BCA, and they were very receptive to the idea of me making a video inside the BCA assembly plant. So once scheduling lined up, I made the 8.5-hour trip and arrived at Bicycle Corporation of America, ready to see the magic. They gave me free run to film almost everything, the only exceptions being some upcoming bikes and some prototypes, some of which are higher end bikes that I should have a shot at reviewing in the near future. But for today, I want to see a bike being assembled. If you've ever seen iJustine and how excited she gets around a new Apple product, that's basically me around bikes. Plus, I've never been in a bike assembly plant before, so I was somewhat overwhelmed with all the bike stuff and mesmerizing processes happening right in front of me. It was hard to keep my focus because, well, look at all these wheel sets. Mountains and mountains of wheels just waiting for a bike. It's probably a good thing that in my initial wondering, I wandered in the directions of the wheels first, because wheels are where it all starts. Now I should note here that this is a bike assembly plant, not a manufacturing facility, so here we'll get to see a set of components come together to make a new bike. Let's start at the center of the wheel with the hub, and with what is probably the most rhythmically intoxicating process in the plant. This machine places spokes into the holes on the hub, efficiently and systematically. Now don't stare at this for too long because I promise you, this is addictive. Every station at this facility has hand inspection of each component that comes off its line. And this is a good time to mention that this plant is a mix of automation and hands-on. I say this because we just saw a machine put spokes into the hubs. At the next step, those spoked hubs are mated to a bare rim. This is done by hand. Very efficient hands. Next, the wheel is placed into another machine, and this one threads spoke nipples onto the spokes. This is also the stage where rim tape is applied by hand. After rim tape is applied, the wheel is rolled into an interesting machine. This one tightens the spokes and trues the wheel at the same time. Now the wheel's ready for tubes and tires and also a manual inspection of both the true and the air seal. To become a bike, these new wheels are going to need a frame, and that's on the other end of the plant. This is where the big stuff starts. Boxes and boxes of raw frames are manually inspected and hung on a suspended cable system that works its way through multiple stages. The first of which is to run each frame through a wash process. There's a multi-step washer that gets rid of any contaminants that would affect the finish on the frame. With the frames cleaned, they're allowed to dry as they are conveyed into another room. A clean room, and this is where, through the magic of electrostatic charges, a powder coat is applied. This is a neat process to see. There are no fumes, and because of the charge, the powder goes straight onto the frame. So in one side of the machine goes an unfinished frame. Out the other comes a matte gray frame with powder. But at this point the powder isn't adhered. For that to happen, the frame needs to be sent through an oven and baked, so that the powder coat can bond to the frame. The result of this baking is a glossy black finish, which is then hand inspected before the frames go on to another step. And that's going into another oven so the finish can cure. For obvious reasons, I can't film inside the oven, but once the curing process is complete, decals and badging are manually applied to the frames. Now it's time for the frame to head to the main assembly line. Along the main assembly line, and there are multiple main assembly lines at this plant, there are also sub-assembly lines. These ready components. At this sub-assembly line, you can see 1x cranksets being assembled, and a few feet away, yet another sub-assembly line is taking handlebar assemblies and prepping them for fitment. They have custom templates for each specific handlebar and bike setup, and this means that every bar is properly adjusted so that when removed from the box, it'll go straight onto the bike in the proper orientation. Now that all the components are in place, we can sit back, follow a frame as it goes along the assembly line, and watch a BCA bicycle being born. As impressive as this assembly process is to me, what stood out the most during my visit is how the BCA plant is more than just an assembly plant. And by that, I mean that the people that make up this plant, they're fully ingrained in bike culture. Everything they do seems to have a bike-centric focus. And that's evident not only just by looking around the plant, but also listening to their conversations, and being able to join in on one of their daily rides around the assembly plant grounds. 6 laps is 3 miles. And also, I didn't get to film it, but there's a pump track on these grounds. I'll try to cover that in my next visit, and I will be back because BCA is growing, and based on some of the things I've seen, this is going to get impressive. The next time you're in Walmart, it may be worth your time to wander over to the bike aisle and give a look at the BCA bike. You may even see one that you got to see assembled in this video. Comment below and let me know, have you heard of BCA before? And if you haven't, don't worry, because we'll soon get a look at one of their bikes. They gave me an SC29 to review, fresh off the factory floor. So stay tuned for that, and be sure you're subscribed and have that bell notification icon hit so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching, have a great day. Be sure to get out and ride.